Hello, YouTube, Facebook. Listen, I'm very excited. I'm releasing my new book came out today. So here it is. Can you see it? The label. So it came out in ebook today, but maybe another week, the paperback will be also available. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now because in my last couple books, I sold 80% ebooks. So I think that's a bigger audience. Anyway, so I'm very proud that I'm releasing this new book. I've been writing this series for about 10 years. The first book was Loving Gospel Music. I've made other videos about it, and y'all didn't bad. Y'all didn't bad enough of them. But anyway, so here's the book. Okay, this is Loving Gospel Music, the first book I wrote. I think it's 10 years ago. But in that book, there was a record company formed. That story was a coming of age love story. Two gay men. My protagonist moves to Hollywood and he marries this, gets involved with, marries this gospel singer, very big gospel singer. Well, when the gospel singer's life, entertaining career is coming to a close, where he's not able to sell records anymore, he happens to own this theater, which was left to him by this other ancient type gay guy who was his mentor. So anyway, he owns the theater. So after his career begins to tank, they turned the movie theater where he used to live, and then he gave the theater to the church. There's also a church that appears in all these books. But now they turned the theater, which became the church, and is now okay, and now it became a record company. So they started this record company, Stratton Records, in the first book of the series. I've written 4 books in the series. So that character's name the protagonist was Dwayne Brown. His lover was Joey White, who was the big entertainer. So he lost his lover. His lover got killed. And so in the second book, The Epiphany, he is now the owner of a thriving record company, but he's been depressed, so he hasn't been able to go on very, very successfully after his lover was killed. So he meets this other guy in San Francisco, this young guy named Dallas Jordan. Dallas becomes his protege, and when Joey is killed, he passes the label on to Dallas, his protege. Okay, in the third book, which is the last book I wrote, was called The Muse. Now, Muse was more of a book about a writer. The backdrop was still the same record company, though. And so Dallas is still running the company at that point, and he meets up with his best friend from the San Francisco days, who was called Carson Elliott, who was married to the primary producer of Stratton Records. So I say all that to say they're all tied in. There have been 4 generations now of gay lovers who have owned this theater. So it's like a legacy. Well, now that brings me to the current book, which got released today. It's released in ebook today, and it'll be out in paperback in a week or so. So now Stratton Records, the producer of Stratton Records, has gone out on this talent search, and he's found this group, 2 groups actually, both in Atlanta, Georgia. He goes to the South every couple of years to scout mostly churches. This is a gospel label. And he comes across this group of guys, one of which is the protagonist, but it's actually the story of all 3 of these guys. They're best friends. The primary guy is he's 18 years old, so he is straight. So for the first time, I've actually got a straight person in my fiction. There have been a couple other, but small roles. He is straight, but his two singing partners, they all sing at the church together, unbeknownst to him, are actually lovers. Out of three guys, two of them are lovers, and that's revealed in the story. I don't want to give away the entire story, but it's tempting because I want to talk about it. Okay, so they go to Hollywood. When they get to Hollywood, get to Stratton Records, the Dallas Jordan, who is the CEO of Stratton Records, the one who summoned them to Los Angeles, um, he offers them a record contract, but he also uh, scratched the guy who discovered them. This is getting kind of complicated. You're gonna have to read the book. Don't wait around to read the book. We got to start reading more, people. Okay, and so now the producer, who was one of the stars of the last book, the producer finds the guys. He also finds a girl group at the same time, and he brings the guys to Los Angeles. They offer them a record contract. They say they also have a girl group that they just discovered there that they're going to be working with at the same time. Unbeknownst to them, Trevor, who is the protagonist, has had an involvement with the lead singer of the girl group, and it didn't end well. And so those are just got sub stories. But when they do a couple of successful albums from Atlanta. Okay, now at some point they become one group. So there's 6 singers in one group. They are Prophecy. The name of the group is Prophecy. The issue with Prophecy is they were promised that after if they could record a successful album in Atlanta, which they do too, they would be brought to Los Angeles, and given the full attention of the label. So anyway, they're there in Los Angeles. When they arrive in Los Angeles, the record label, physically, the building will not let them. First, won't even let them in the building, and then after they do let them in the buildings, things start happening all around the building. So we're not calling it a ghost. We're saying there's something going on at Stratton Records. For some reason, these people cannot. The building will not. Coincidences, different things are happening to stop these people from recording at the actual record label. Every time they try to start, something happens. And so one of the guys, Dallas's partner, comes up with a brilliant idea to record the album in the Bay Area. So they end up recording the new album, The Prophecy. This will be their third album, which they're all going to write for, and they're planning on this being a very big album. They're going to record it in Treasure Island, which is right off of San Francisco. And so you would think that would be the end of it, but things get complicated because things start happening on Treasure Island as well. So when I start to write the story, the 4th book in the series, what I had in mind was to write a ghost story. That was the idea. But one of the characters took a more prominent role in the story. So I would say it was more of the story of a witch than the ghosts. The ghosts are there. They're there. The label is definitely haunted, but the one they're fighting against, the one who they're not against the guys and the girls or Prophecy, the group. There's another force that they're going to do battle with. So that's it. I can't say any more than that. I've probably said too much already, but it's a great story. All of my books, they all have a supernatural element to them. The first one, they actually went into heaven and they had angels, and God was actually talking to the people one-on-one in the coming of age story. In the second book, the Epiphani were like messengers and so they were very close to like angels who would guide the characters along. And then the third book, the last book, well, actually, Muse wasn't necessarily so much supernatural as it was psychological. Uh, and I don't want to give that book away. It's pretty new, also. It's not even a year old. So, anyway, that's the name of the book. If the label, you can see the label up there. The actual book won't be available till next week. But let me show you the cover again. Okay, that's the cover. Go to Amazon, Timothy Blaine, and you get it. They're very inexpensive. I have to. I'm not famous, so I got to charge unfamous people's prices. So it's a good series to get involved in. They're all standalone. I mean, you don't have to read book 1, 2, and 3 in order to enjoy book 4. That's intentional. As I said, they all have totally different plots and characters and so forth. The only thing they really have in common is they have some of the characters are carried over, and also the record company and the church, which was also created in book 1. And so I hope you guys enjoy my books, my book series. Please, 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 if you can do that for me, I would really appreciate if you guys would write some reviews on Amazon. And beginning of the book, you need reviews, really. The only way you get that is somebody reads the book. So please consider my new series, my new book in the new series, Love and Gospel Music, The Label by Timothy Blaine at Amazon.com. God bless you.